Good evening, everyone. I assume most of you have driven a car before, and depending on how often you drive it, you've always gotten a check engine light about every year, or depending on how often you drive it. And this isn't because of any major issue besides a tune-up being necessary, including the spark plugs and oil. So today I'm going to go over how to perform a tune-up on your car, not including brakes because the video would take too long, and that's a total separate thing that would take too long. So I want to go over by the safety for an oil change first. Make sure the car is off. This is the most obvious because if the car is not off, you're gonna just end up destroying your engine. Not good for the engine. You're gonna have to buy a new car basically, or a new motor if you still want that and just want to fix it. But that leads up to over $1,000 that I highly doubt anyone's gonna want to spend. And also, once you turn off your car, wait about 15 minutes or more after the car is off. Because as the car is on, the engine is getting hot, which is also heating up the oil. And if you're draining the oil while it's hot and it falls on you, that's not going to feel necessarily nice. Unless, I don't know, you guys are familiar with that, but hopefully not. And also, wear proper clothing. So, of course, you're not going to want to wear a dress shirt, a clean shirt. Maybe you want to go get some jeans or a certain work uh, clothing for this because you're not going to want to ruin anything you have, and you're probably not going to want to wear it after. And then the next thing, always have a jack. A jack is going to be essential for a tune-up, for your oil at least, because you're going to need to go under the car. Unless you have a truck. Some occasions with a truck, you don't need a jack, you can just slide under. But if you don't, jacks are essential and they should come with every car you buy next to the spare tire, along with the tire remover. But for this, you won't need to remove any tire. And then also, it's best to have a jack stand with you as well. Jack stands aren't that expensive. They're like 25 bucks piece, yeah. And they really do come in handy. Not often, but in rare occasions, the jacks can fail on you, and it's better just to have another safety precaution there to protect yourself. And then now, safety when changing spark plugs. You're gonna want to wear gloves. As you can see on this Honda, that there's a battery right here. You're also gonna need to disconnect that. Every car has a battery. And the gloves aren't gonna be just for when you take out the spark plugs and you get some substance on you, whether it's gas or oil. But also on this battery right here, there are sometimes corrosion or battery acid on it. And it's best not to touch yourself with that or even inhale that stuff because that is super bad. But as long as you've been taking care of your car, that shouldn't even be there. And it's best not to lean on any plastic besides where the hood latch goes over. So right here, this metal bar, this is what you want to be leaning on if you have to lean on anything, not this plastic piece, because this can break and then you're gonna have a broken grill. That's more money, of course, no one wants to spend. And also, to do this tune-up, you're gonna need all the necessary tools, which can come in a toolbox that has wrenches, sockets, and the oh no, this one doesn't have the oil filter remover. You're gonna have to buy that separately, and it looks like this right down here. There's many variants, just this is one of them. And then also, you're gonna need some pliers, ratchet, and also your new engine oil filter, and also your spark plugs. Now, the instructions for doing an oil change. It's super simple. Only need to take off two things. This is where the size sockets or wrench helps and the oil filter remover. First, you're going to want to find the engine oil pan. It's going to look like this, and it's going to be on the passenger side of the car. I've never seen in my experience of doing this for like 10 years where it's not on the passenger side. And then grab either your size socket or wrench that you will be using to take it off. In my experience, it's always been a 14 millimeter or a 16 millimeter socket. And remember, break it loose, lefty loosey, not righty tighty. And that's what it's going to look like. Now, the next thing you're going to have to take off once you're done draining your oil is taking off the filter. It can be located on the side of the engine next to the tire, passenger side tire, or it's going to be around next to the oil pan. And this is going to be on the side of the tire. And for this, you're going to need to find it, get the oil filter remover, and once again, lefty loosey. Then put on the new filter. But before turning on the car, put the new engine oil in. If you drain the oil and don't put it in, you just basically ruined your car once again. It might not happen like that, but it's better not to do it, of course, because that's just a waste of money. Okay, now for the spark plugs. This is a little more complicated, but not really. So first, right here in this image, you see these four screws. These are what you're gonna have to take off. Usually they're 10 millimeter. Unless you have a certain truck that uses wires as well. All you have to do then is just remove these wires. So you want to open your hood, enter the engine bay, and with the socket, take it off. Then get your extension, being a 16 or 14 socket, and remove the spark plugs from each hole, lefty-loosey. And then just once again, put everything back on, and you're done. So thank you for watching. Hopefully that this has taught